Maybe it's politics, religion, or a clash of values. Words are flying like arrows. You're locked in, trying to win. You want to be heard, to prove you're right. But then, what if the real power was not in what you say, but in saying nothing at all? Enter Friedrich Nietzsche. One of the most radical philosophers of all time. Nietzsche didn't care about being liked. He didn't chase approval. He didn't even believe in absolute truth. But he did believe in power, the kind of power that can't be taken from you. And here's his secret. The most powerful person in any room isn't the one who argues the best. It's the one who doesn't need to argue at all. So, what exactly is Nietzsche's hidden strategy for winning in life, not through conflict, but through mastery? Let's dive in. To understand Nietzsche's insight, we first need to ask, why do we argue in the first place? Most people think arguments are about truth, but Nietzsche would say they're about something deeper: the will to dominate, the need to assert yourself, the desire to be seen. He saw arguments as a mask. Behind the logic and reasoning, people argue because they fear being wrong. It threatens their identity. They crave recognition. Winning proves their value. They need control. Arguing gives the illusion of power. But Nietzsche believed that those who chase power rarely possess it. Real power is silent. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't scream for attention. It simply is. So when two people argue and one remains still, unmoved, composed, Nietzsche would say that person is already operating on a higher plane. Nietzsche's core idea is the will to power. It's often misread as domination or brute force, but in truth, it's much more subtle. It's about the ability to shape reality according to your will. This doesn't mean shouting louder or crushing opposition. It means mastering yourself so deeply that you no longer need the approval of others. You move through life like a force of nature, not reacting but choosing. And that's where the Übermensch, Nietzsche's ideal person, comes in. The Übermensch doesn't follow the crowd. He doesn't seek acceptance. He creates his own values. And crucially, he never argues just to prove he's right. He acts, he influences, he leads, not by demanding power, but by embodying it. Let's bring this to life. 1. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor. Marcus, though a Roman emperor, wrote in his private journals more than he gave speeches. He governed with calm and restraint. When faced with insults or betrayal, he didn't retaliate with words. He responded with action, or sometimes not at all. He lived the idea that dignity is louder than argument. 2. Keanu Reeves, Hollywood's quiet force. In our age of social media noise, Keanu Reeves is a paradox. Quiet, private, composed, and yet one of the most respected figures in Hollywood. Not because he talks the most, but because he's known for character, stillness, and presence. He doesn't perform power. He just is. 3. Lao Tzu, the power of the Tao centuries before Nietzsche. Lao Tzu wrote, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." This aligns with Nietzsche's view. Those with the deepest understanding, the truest strength, don't need to convince others. The Tao flows in silence. Like nature, it acts without effort, rules without speaking. Let's return to the argument. When you argue, especially emotionally, you reveal your attachment to being right. You make it clear that your self-worth is tied to winning. And Nietzsche saw that as weakness. The Übermensch doesn't fear being misunderstood. He knows truth needs no defense. If someone insults him, he doesn't react, because reacting gives them control. Think of it like chess. The novice makes loud moves, celebrates early victories. The master stays calm, watching, conserving energy, winning the game before the opponent even knows they've lost. That's Nietzsche's vision of power. Silence isn't passive. When used intentionally, it becomes a strategic weapon. Here's how. Silence makes others uncomfortable. In a world addicted to noise, someone who can sit in silence feels unpredictable and powerful. Silence creates space. When you don't fill the air, others rush to do it. They reveal more, give up their position. Silence signals control. The one who speaks least often commands the most attention when they finally do. This is the power Nietzsche was pointing to, not the loud power of the mob, but the quiet, inner strength of someone who needs nothing from the crowd. But here's the catch. Silence is hard. Why? Because silence requires self-trust. Most people argue because they don't trust their own convictions. They need to prove themselves, to be validated, to win. Nietzsche challenges us to rise above this, to live by values we create, not ones we inherit, to stop defending ourselves and start becoming ourselves. The Übermensch doesn't play the game. He rewrites the rules. Nietzsche wasn't a psychologist, but today's science backs him up. Neuroscience shows that when we're emotionally triggered, we lose access to rational thinking. Silence keeps you in control. Social psychology reveals that people who speak less in groups are often perceived as more powerful. It's called the authority of restraint. Cognitive bias research shows we rarely convince others through arguments. The more we try, the more people dig in. Nietzsche was right. Power isn't in overpowering others. It's in mastering yourself. So what should you do? Here's the takeaway. Stop arguing to win. Start acting with intention. Don't defend your beliefs. Live them. Let go of the need to be understood. Focus on being authentic. Master silence. Use it to influence, not escape. Nietzsche's philosophy isn't about passivity. It's about choosing when to speak, and when your silence says more than words ever could. Because in the end, real strength is not in noise, but in presence. The moment you no longer need to be right is the moment you step into real power. So the next time you're pulled into a heated debate, remember this. You don't have to fight to win. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Like Nietzsche's Übermensch, your power comes from within, unshakable, unapologetic, unmoved. That's the kind of power no argument can touch. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more deep dives into philosophy and human nature. Until next time, stay curious, stay calm, and above all, stay powerful.